Welcome to Housing After 60. I am Charles Odell. On this site, we analyze the math and the reality of senior housing to find your best options. Let's get started.
Welcome to another deep dive from Housing After 60. Today, we are looking at the dramatic shift in ADU building costs and rules for 2026, based on our latest research at housingafter60.com. So let's just kick things off with this quote from our founder, Charles Odell, because it really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. It says, "Building an ADU is no longer a hobby project. In 2026, it is a high-stakes real estate maneuver." And that's the key, right? We're not talking about a simple shed in the backyard anymore. The entire game has changed. Exactly. That old kind of sentimental idea of the granny flat, which, let's be honest, was often just a glorified garden shed with maybe a space heater, that's just gone. Today, in 2026, you are building a significant high-value financial asset. It's really more like a financial fortress, designed to protect your equity and secure your future. And the number one reason for this massive shift is a tidal wave of new rules. We're calling it the 2026 regulatory sledgehammer because, well, it's completely flattened the old way of doing things and has totally altered how these units get designed and built. And the core of that sledgehammer? It's something called Title 24. Look, this isn't a list of suggestions or a friendly guide. For any ADU getting a permit today, these are the absolute non-negotiable rules of the road, governing everything from the physics of your foundation to the guts of your electrical panel. So what does that actually mean for your wallet? Well, right out of the gate, those new seismic standards mean deeper footings and a whole lot more rebar. That translates to a minimum cost increase of 12% for just your concrete and masonry work compared to only a couple of years ago. And here's a hidden cost that catches almost everyone by surprise. Title 24 says that new ADUs have to be electric-ready for things like heat pumps and EV chargers. For most older homes, that means you have to upgrade your main electrical service to 200 amps. And that's an immediate, often unbudgeted hit of about $5,000. Okay, so this table really lays out the new cost reality, doesn't it? We're seeing garage conversions now starting around $75,000, with brand new custom detached units easily pushing past $400,000. But here's how you have to think about it. These aren't just expenses. This is a serious investment into a major property asset. And hey, if you want the full technical breakdown for your specific area, you can check out the regional cost tables on the Housing After 60 website. But, this whole thing is about so much more than just construction costs. It's really about the human and the financial logic of building for your family's future. It's what we call the multi-generational math. This right here is such a critical mindset shift. So many people think, oh, I'm building a cute little guest house for mom. The reality, you are building for her future needs. It's almost like you're building a clinical facility that just happens to look like a home. For example, if you install standard 30-inch doors today, I guarantee you'll be ripping out drywall in 5 years when a wheelchair needs 32 inches of clearance to get through. You have to plan ahead and put in 36-inch doors now. And this is where the strategy gets really, really powerful. It's called a personal care agreement. This is a formal legal contract to pay a family member, or anyone really, for providing care. Now, this isn't just some nice family arrangement. It is a strategic financial tool that can help you transfer wealth and plan for future Medicaid eligibility. It's a game changer. And this is a big but, you have to do it right. The payment you make has to be reasonable. That's based on local rates, which are currently running somewhere between $32 and $45 an hour. If you pay anything more than that, the IRS and Medicaid will classify that extra amount as a gift, which can trigger some really nasty penalties under their 5-year look-back period. Okay, so all of this brings us to the most critical part of the entire plan, your exit strategy. We've talked about the costs, we've talked about the family logic, but now let's get into the tax implications and the true financial payoff. Okay, listen up, because the step-up in basis is basically the holy grail of real estate tax provisions for anyone over 60. Here's the simple version. When you pass away, your heirs inherit your property, including that new ADU, at its current market value on that day. This effectively erases all the capital gains tax on all the value it has gained over the years. It is an incredibly powerful tool for a tax-free wealth transfer. Now, this is the question we get all the time. I'm sure you're thinking it right now. After hearing about the regulations, the crazy costs, the complex planning, why would anyone put themselves through all of this? Here is why. $102,000. That is the average
annual cost for a single private room in an assisted living facility in 2026. And remember, that's after-tax money, just going up in smoke every single year.
And that really brings us to the key takeaway of this whole deep dive. The real return on your investment, the true ROI, isn't going to be rental income. It's not even about property value appreciation. The true ROI is avoiding the absolutely catastrophic, wealth-destroying cost of long-term care. You know, the math on this is actually surprisingly simple and pretty stunning. If your ADU prevents you or a loved one from needing to move into an assisted living facility, the entire project can literally pay for itself in as little as 17 months. Just think about that. That is a return on investment you will not find anywhere else.
So if you're convinced and the math is starting to make sense for you, what do you actually do next? Where do you start? Well, we've put together a first principles action plan. Think of it as your execution checklist for 2026. All right. As we've noted on housingafter60.com, you have to follow these steps in this exact order, no shortcuts. First, do a feasibility audit. That means you hire a surveyor to check your property lines and, crucially, your utility easements before you spend another dime. Next, verify your electrical capacity. Get an electrician out there to confirm your panel can even handle that 200-amp upgrade. Then, you can select your construction method. Prefab gives you a fixed cost, stick-built lets you go custom. After that, draft that caregiver agreement and get it signed before anyone moves in. And from day one, set your tax basis. Easiest way? Open a dedicated bank account to track every single cost.
So that leaves us with one final question for you to chew on. When you look at your property, do you see an empty backyard, basically a liability you have to mow? Or do you see a powerful tool for building a lasting financial legacy?
Thanks for watching. For more guides and the full article on this topic, head over to housingafter60.com. Don't forget to check the links in the description below.
Your peace and enjoyment in retirement depends on the right housing strategy. Visit housingafter60.com for our full analysis and cost transparency guides. I will see you in the next video.